guys, I'm Laura Vitale. On this episode of Laura in the Kitchen, I'm going to show you how to make an orange marmalade coffee cake. It's so delicious and it is so easy. Let me take you over the ingredients so we can get started. You're going to need some all-purpose flour, some granulated sugar, some vanilla yogurt, eggs, orange marmalade, some vegetable oil, baking powder, baking soda, salt, some fresh orange, vanilla extract, and you're also going to need some brown sugar, some extra regular sugar, a pinch of cinnamon, and some cold butter. And I'll explain what that is for in just a bit. And you're going to need a few additional ingredients to make a nice glaze for this, but that's going to come in a little bit. Now the first thing you want to do is get your oven preheated to 350. The second thing you want to do is take a 10-inch bundt pan like so, and you want to spray it liberally with some non-stick cooking spray. You want to make sure nothing sticks. So now let's get right into it. In this bowl, I've got my flour, and I also have my baking powder, baking soda, and salt. I'm just going to mix this together really quickly just to get them combined and get them out of the way. Perfect. This recipe is so easy. You're going to love it. You're going to absolutely love it, and it tastes delicious. And it's so funny because orange marmalade for me was never something I was a huge fan of, you know, on toast, for example. I'm not a fan of it on toast or anything like that because it does have a slight bitter sort of tang to it because of the orange rind, but I love, love, love baking with it. So on toast, not a huge fan. Baking with it, love. So I'm going to add in, I've added pretty much everything. I've got my sugar, my yogurt, my eggs, my orange marmalade, a nice bit of vanilla. And now, just because I want orange on a different note, I kind of want to highlight that orange marmalade. I'm going to put in some fresh orange zest. This is fabulous. Wait till you make this. The whole house is going to smell incredible, and I know I'm going to get a lot of questions that people are going to say, where's the coffee in coffee cake? Coffee cake doesn't necessarily mean that there's coffee in it. There are some recipes, I make a coffee cake with coffee in it, but there are some recipes with coffee in it, but coffee cake just means it goes great with a cup of coffee. That's what it stands for, and actually this particularly goes fantastic with coffee or tea. I love it with some nice tea on a nice fall day. Very few things make me as happy as that. So now that I pretty much have all my wet ingredients in, I'm going to just take a handheld mixer and just whisk it all together until it's nicely combined. That looks perfect. I'm going to add in my dry ingredients. Now, you're supposed to always do it the opposite way. The wet goes into the dry, but silly me, I put the dry ingredients into a bowl that was a little too small, but that's okay. I'm just going to mix this in until they're incorporated, but don't overmix. Just incorporate them and then stop. That looks amazing. I'm going to get rid of the beaters. Woo! It's a party in here. Going to get rid of the beaters. Put all that orange marmalade right back in there. Take a spatula and I'm just going to mix it in just to make sure everything is well mixed from the sides. Now that is done and it's perfect and I'm loving it and digging it already, but we've got to do one more thing. Now I'm going to make like a little, almost like a streusel topping, but this is actually going to go into the center of this cake. I know, I'm overdoing myself today. Now I'm going to put in my cinnamon and both kinds of sugar, and I'm going to give these a quick little mix with a fork, and then I'm going to add in a couple tablespoons of cold unsalted butter, and I'm just going to mix them in with the back of my fork just very quickly, very lightly. You don't want this to be perfect, but you just want to get the butter cut up a little bit more. That looks awesome. Now, take your pan. I always put it on a baking sheet just because it's easier to get it in and out of the oven. I'm going to pour half of this batter in. Try and get it nice and smooth. Now I know that I usually always I use sour cream in my coffee cake to keep it moist, but I had some leftover yogurt on hand when I first made this. Oh my goodness, it is so delicious, and I have vanilla yogurt, so I figured it can't be that bad. It wasn't. It was actually quite awesome. So I've been making it that way ever since. I'm just sprinkling my sugar mixture evenly over the top, like that. Try and get it as even as possible, but don't be too nervous about that. And then just pour the remaining batter around. Looks amazing. Okay, now I'm gonna pop this into the oven that I have preheated at 350, and this will bake for about 45 minutes to an hour. Every oven varies, so make sure you check. After 45 minutes, take a toothpick or a dry piece of spaghetti, insert it into the cake, and if it comes out dry without any wet batter on it, then you know it's done. Otherwise, let it continue to cook, but check on it quite frequently because you don't want it to overcook. And then I'm gonna let it cool, and I'll show you the next step, the last final step before we get to dig in. My coffee cake baked for 45 minutes, and I've let it cool completely, and then I've inverted it onto a cake stand. Now what I have here is a little bit of just some orange marmalade. I popped it into the microwave for a few seconds just to warm it up a bit and make it a little looser so that it's easier to incorporate into my glaze, which to make the glaze, I'm just gonna add a little bit of fresh orange juice to the warmed up orange marmalade and some confectioner's sugar. Just a little bit, just a teeny tad, and I'm just gonna work this in. I'm not gonna make a whole lot of glaze because I really don't, there's so much sweetness going on in there already. I just want a little tiny bit just over the top. That looks great. As you can see, it happens super, super quickly. So I'm just gonna drizzle it over the top. I love the look of the orange rind on top from the orange marmalade. Now, ideally, you should let this set for a few minutes, but I need to cut into this. Oh, awesome. Smells incredible. Should have probably gotten a knife to cut that, but look at the cinnamon. See the cinnamon sugar mixture? I'm going right in. Big bite. So yummy. It's almost like slightly sticky. I don't know how to describe it, but the texture on point. The flavors amazing. You must try this recipe. This might be your favorite coffee cake. It's definitely one of my favorites. The flavors are really simple, but yet really bright and delicious and complement each other very well. Go to www.laureandthekitchen.com to get this recipe. Share it with your loved ones. Let me know how they like it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.